I always imagining before, what Oshiba shiguri koi mean to be. The Japanese named them Oshiba or Oshiba shiguri, and they called it as an autumn koi carp. First in my mind, I thought this koi carp breeds in the autumn, but the true reason is, the fish's colors resemble the autumn foliage and the shimmering raindrops falling on them. Oshiba shiguri is a relatively new koi variety, with its origin dating back to the 20th century. It was first bred by Japanese koi breeders, by crossing Asagi koi, which has a bluish-gray body with red markings, with Soragoi koi, which is solid bluish-gray. The result of this crossbreeding was a koi variety with a metallic sheen and unique autumnal markings, which quickly gained popularity among koi enthusiasts. Oshiba shiguri's breeding is still ongoing, with new variations being created regularly. Oshiba shiguri's ancestral genetics are actually very beneficial old genetics. First, Asagi. Asagi is the first koi variant in the world, a variant with ancient genetics and not many weak genes that affect it. That is, Oshiba shiguri carries the ancient genetics of carp, which is tough in itself, so that matters of health and environmental adaptation are not a problem. On the other hand, Soragoi is part of the variant Shigoi group, which is known to quickly grow into a giant, and is friendly and docile to humans. So the genetics of the Oshiba shiguri's ancestors benefited from being a tough, fast-growing and docile pet koi. Even though the Oshiba back pattern looks like the Kohaku back pattern, in fact, the Oshiba not only has a linear pattern, but also a lateral pattern. Why? Because Oshiba is a descendant of Asagi, whose color pattern extends along the abdomen and along the lateral line of the koi's anatomy. So the Oshiba is unique, because it doesn't have just one sub-pattern, but all the koi pattern categories in its body. The Oshiba pattern has a wide spectrum of brown colors, ranging from reddish-brown, dark, terracotta, to orange. Likewise, the gray skin color, ranging from dark gray, light gray, to greenish and yellowish gray. Likewise the net pattern on its back, some are dense and dark, some are smooth and bright, some are wide. As you saw before, Oshiba also has a Doitsu version. The Oshiba koi's unique coloration, combined with its durability, friendly nature, and individual pattern variations, make it a highly sought-after variety for koi enthusiasts. Its appearance resembles the beauty of autumn leaves drifting on water, adding a touch of natural elegance to any pond or garden. If you're looking to add a captivating and sociable fish to your pond, the Oshiba koi is undoubtedly an excellent choice that will bring joy and beauty to your aquatic environment.
There is an issue that sometimes Oshiba change their coloration. Most of the time Oshiba would choose darker color. Actually, it depends on the breeder or the bloodline they came from. I have a few bloodlines here and they're all different. One type will start out looking like Soragoi primarily, and occasionally like a Chagoi. As they mature they develop the patterns. These fish are near impossible to predict what they will end up looking like. However, the blue bodies have very good reticulation, and I really like the orangish bronze color that eventually develops. The big question is what the pattern will end up looking like on these. I have another strain that start right off looking Oshiba and the patterns stay fairly stable. However, some aditonal patterning may develop on those as well, in about 10% of them roughly. Their patterns are more of a chocolatey bronze color. I have one other strain that starts off with the pattern and stay very stable and predictable, but the percentage of good ones is low in that strain. These type of scenarios are true for lots of varieties out there. That is why I chuckle sometimes when I hear some of the experts say to look for this or that in certain ewing fish. It is very difficult to generalize like this anymore, as there can be big differences in how fish start and develop from one bloodline or variety to another. There are very few stable bloodlines or varieties left, including in Japan, that a lot of these generalizations still apply to. Every breeder's fish are different in many ways when speaking of developmental matters and such. Every year, almost every breeder out there does some sort of spawn of new parents or stock, and mixes and matches bloodlines as well. I am afraid the whole true or pure bloodline thing is not really relevant much anymore. All the breeders in Japan switch and swap fish to create something new to experiment with, in trying to achieve both bigger size and better skin. On top of all this, there have been quite a few of the purer bloodlines wiped out in Japan by various things like KHV, earthquakes, etc. In talking to a breeder about bloodlines, he laughed and basically said that the old lines are pretty much gone except for a very few fish. Most fish are coming from many cross and experiments these days. The breeders are the only ones that can best tell you how a fish will develop, and there are times when breeding new parent stock that they don't even know. It takes a lifetime to develop a consistent strain of any particular variety. One of the things I'm frustrated by is my lack of knowledge of specific bloodlines. The different expectations from breeder to breeder, bloodline to bloodline, are huge. A tank of Tosai or Nisai from different sources may look much the same today, but in a few years the differences can really show. Know your source, and trust a good breeder to know his own stuff. There are times as well, that as a breeder, I may breed new parents or new crosses, varieties or bloodlines, and even I don't know how they will end up. When this is the case, that is exactly what I tell my customers. I will give them my best educated guess, but if I have not grown out a specific variety or strain or bloodline, then even I don't know what will happen in time for sure. This is the learning curve of every breeder. Yes, there are fish that I breed year after year and I know just what they will put out for the most part, and how they will develop. The breeders that only breed a couple of varieties are the ones that know their stock the best, as there is usually not too much variance from year to year. However, I will say that even breeding the same parents at times can yield different results from year to year as well. There are some broodstock that are tried and true as for what they put out from year to year asd well. With all these variables, can you see why I chuckle when folks generalize certain traits and such, of certain varieties? The breeder knows the best, but even then there are certain variables that can alter outcomes. This in itself is one of the biggest attractions to breeding. When you finally do get consistent results, you have arrived. I will say that all breeders die with a certain amount of frustration that came from trying to achieve a goal, or simple perfection. It's not really possible, but hey, don't remind us of that. Let us die trying, because that is what we live for.